Devin watched cooking shows because seeing people eat nice food lent a phantom satisfaction to his own unsavory gruel. He came home from work alone every day to an apartment empty save for the companion glow of his TV. It was Tuesday, and he drank a Bud Light Wheat while he streamed the season finale of Treat Chef. The guy with a tiger tattoo won. His belly rumbled as the app queued up a new show. I should eat, he said to no one. Even he wasn't listening. He sat and let the program play. The new show was called It's My Right, and it didn't appear to be a cooking show at all. Cooking shows took place in kitchens. This opened in a field.
The pharaohs of Egypt were buried with their most cherished possessions. Who wouldn't want their treasures in the afterlife?
Asked a casually dressed, colorless woman as she paced among sunflowers, wild wheat, and birch saplings. The camera caught the glisten of a small creek babbling over polished stones.
Of course, when we opened the tombs,
she grinned.
It was all still there.
Devin just about turned the TV off. It was one of those building shows. He could no longer relate to such programs after the divorce. He could barely keep an apartment. Devin paused the show. The cover image appeared, a collage of forks, plates, and smiling, dirty mouths. He thought. Maybe the cooking came later. He let it play.
Yet, there are many of us who still chase the dream to possess your treasure forever.
Her nasal accent was unplaceable. Kurdish?
But what if your treasure isn't gold, jewels, or scrolls, or papyrus? What if your treasure...
The camera pulled back to reveal a verdant paradise of water, forest, stones, and a small familial cabin.
...is a place. Architect Manti Grisak has come up with an ingenious solution.
A skeleton man in tailored clothes, so large he barely fit in the television, smiled at Devin. All Devin saw was the smile, a cavernous mouth giving a dentist's view of iridescent teeth. My name is Architect Manti Grisak, and I'm going to eat the whole fucking thing. His lips were mealworms, and they smacked. Smack, smack, smacked. Smack, smack, smacked. Devin was relieved. It wasn't a cooking show, but it was an eating show. He turned up the volume and slouched into his kitchenette. He took out his pot, filled it in the sink, and plugged in his single-burner hot plate.
Manti has quite a challenge ahead,
the host said in the field, now dodging construction workers and digging machinery.
He wants to eat an entire acre of a stunning ecosystem. Soil, sediment, wildlife, refuse. There is even a cottage. He plans to eat from the top of the trees to a foundation 15 feet deep. And the real challenge, he wants it done in 8 months.
I get my way. Manti laughed, and spittle dribbled onto his flaccid $400 tie. I have a considerable budget. He winked in slow, haughty conspiracy. Devin had the water boiling. He compared his meal prospects to the rich man's salacious field. He'd never get to eat his own land. He'd be lucky if he ate tomorrow. He opened a year-old box of bow tie noodles. He gagged. Devin squinted inside and recoiled, careful, however, not to spill the pasta. Sticking out from the bow ties was the ass half of a dead rat. Oh, gosh! He dry heaved, little itches crawling over his skin. Oh, geez. The television chirped with classical music.
When my film crew arrived for the first day, Manti was already into his second breakfast.
Manti ate spoonfuls of dirt at a table he commissioned, supposedly made from the kind of wood they nailed the Christ to. This is a tremendous day, he gleamed, dabbing an eye. It's all going to be inside me. The crew cheered as Manti paused his feast with a bashful grin. He had encountered his first proper rock. He beheld the goose egg of sandstone between thumb and finger. "Bottoms up," he winked. Manti then wide-mouthed the rock, so thick it ground a washboard against his fillings. His eyes teared, and the project manager and site supervisor were called in to help. Slowly, they wedged the rock past his waggling uvula and slid it down. Everyone cheered and clapped, and Manti wagged fists over his head like a celebrating boxer.
Then,
the narrator sighed,
the unexpected happened.
Next, Manti was clad in the sheer paper of a hospital gown. A doctor put an ear to his abdomen, and a nurse took a blood sample.
Physicians determined Manti would not be able to pass the stone. He would require surgery.
"This is the worst thing that could happen," Manti pouted, studying the hospital floor. "I have a very precise timeline." Using a pair of tongs and a colander, Devin managed to sift the bow tie noodles free of the dead rat. He washed them in the sink. It was there, he noticed, the little cream-colored pearls mixed among the bow ties. "Huh, cheese balls or something," he said. As the noodle mixture boiled on the burner, Devin tried to make a decision regarding the dead rat. He didn't want to just toss it in the trash. The city didn't collect until Thursday. He worried the landlord might yell at him if he left it stewing in the apartment's trash bins. When Devin made a decision, wrap it in a bag and then throw it away, he returned to the counter to find the rat gone. This truly concerned him, but only for 2 more seconds. Ding, went his timer. The pasta was ready to drain.
Thankfully, Manti was able to schedule his surgery the next day.
The woman spoke over a montage of recovery footage. Manti in a wheelchair, bandages unwrapping, a physical therapist helping him take baby deer steps.
And he convinced the doctors to install something extra.
"It's a drainage pipe," Manti explained, manhandling a 6-inch diameter tube snaking over his crotch with a gloved hand. "It bypasses my colon, so larger waste materials can leave without damage." He frowned. "It's not what I had in mind, but well, the doctors reassure me as long as it passes down my throat and through my stomach, it technically counts as eating, even though there's no shitting. Technically," he grimaced.
Technicalities aside, real progress is finally achieved. When we next visit the site, it's hardly recognizable,
the woman said. The next shot showed a transformed acre. The house still stood, but the field had been cleared, and a team was chopping down a copse of forest.
"Wow, I can hardly believe it,"
the translucent woman said as the music swelled.
"So much has changed, and not just the land."
Manti, too, had transformed. The skeleton man had filled out, and his pallid flesh darkened to a healthy gray. The consumed acreage didn't settle on Manti like normal ripples of flesh. Instead, growths bulged like clay deposits where they stuck on his bones. He had thickened piecemeal. "It's nice to put on weight," he grinned. He had lost 2 front teeth. "Of course, my legs don't work quite the same." Over footage of his colon pipe's chunky runoff dribbling into the cabin toilet, the narrator again soured the mood.
Yet, in an already complicated project, the problems were just starting.
The site manager furrowed his brow at the ground. The camera revealed dozens of broken bottles in the drained stream bed. Manti tried to gum a piece of glass, but bled outright. "The way people treat our planet," he teared up. "So disrespectful."
At this current pace, it would be almost 2 years if Manti wishes to finish the project. He may need to compromise again.
"That's so sad," Devin sympathized. He ate his pasta numb and half-lidded in his recliner. It tasted heartier than normal. He imagined each forkful was a shovel of dirt. Each swig of Crow a Zero was a gulp of stream water. He finished the bowl, though he had planned to save some for leftovers, so inspired by the program. But his attention was stolen. At every minor noise, he wrenched his neck over the cushion, hoping to catch the rat. It must still be alive, that trickster. Suddenly, the room flickered, then darkened, but the TV still played. The lamp had gone out. From near the wall outlet, he heard more scritching. There you are, he thought. He tiptoed to the kitchen to grab the pot that boiled his pasta, and from the drawer, a flashlight. He squat down on his hams, pot ready to crash down. In the corner, he caught the black fur in the flashlight. The thing was bumping its head against the wall over and over like a rodent battering ram. Devin felt sick. It was laying on its back, ramming forward and back without using its legs, which jittered lifeless at each blow. Devin tasted vomit. The rat was dead. So what was moving it?
6 months into the project,
The narrow statue of the woman said, descending a ladder into the dirt basement.
and you'd think the whole project was finished. The secret? Outsourcing.
The camera lens unfurled tents of migrant workers, arranged at tables of sorted debris. Tiny rocks, crushed up glass, wood mulch, bite-sized iron, and aluminum nuggets.
We're closing in.
Manty said, doubly thick as before, the drainage pipe above his groin sloshing a constant sluice of black chunk waste into a chamber pot.
It's all still going through me.
He said, and the screen showed men at the ends of conveyor belts loading Manty's cavernous mouth with shovels of masticated glass and wood.
But we had to hire help for the parts my body lacked the endurance or the experience to process.
Manti has hired out contract organs, masticators to chew, as well as swallowers, tasters, and surprisingly, shitters.
Well, we had another pipe inserted.
He said, zipping his fleece down to show a port below his trachea.
This allows me to consume a masticated food bolus, but bypass my mouth. Well, I figured if I'm already outsourcing the chewing, why not do the whole thing right?
The camera hesitated outside tents with black, drawn curtains. Groans erupted within. Manty patted his trusty drainage pipe.
What comes out here is still raw stomach matter. We seal this in jugs.
The scene turned to montage to help explain.
Deliver it to a waste professional who supposits it directly.
Excuse me,
The host laughed.
what do you mean by supposits?
Well, no reason putting in painful tubes if you can get the same result with a funnel and a headstand.
Then, all the machines stopped chugging.
What's wrong now?
Manty shouted, vomiting a little.
Manti has been shitting in the cabin toilet all this time. And the septic tank he expected at 20 feet deep, it showed up at 12.
Hired arms moved Manty's hands for him, wiping his tears with paralyzed limbs.
I've made so many compromises. I'm barely eating the dirt. I didn't eat the spiders or the rats. This isn't an adventure, it's work.
He stiffened up in his concerning enormity.
Everything I ate is still down there. Do I re-eat the shit?
The camera panned away as Manty began to cry. Devin smashed the rat with a pot. It thumped, then thudded, then gooshed, then crunched, then squished. Then he stopped. His stomach ached much worse than before, like flares firing off in the dark of his colon. He noticed then tiny legs amid the gore on the underside of his saucepan. He shone the light to study the dead rat. baby spiders poured from borings in the rat's Swiss cheese torso. It wasn't crawling before, but hydroplaning on a spider tide. Devon's stomach ached again, and he remembered with haunting clarity the egg-colored pearls in the pasta.
8 months ago, Mandy declared to us he would eat this entire acre of land.
The host said amidst a tight close-up. Devon doubled over in front of the TV, and her features bulged beyond the plastic edges, smearing the Samsung with creamy foundation and pale toner.
And I doubted him. We all doubted him, but well, I let him speak for himself.
Immobile amidst the bare cavern of an empty lot, like a cookie cutter had plunged into the earth and pulled a biscuit free, loitered a tumorous boulder of a man. The host stretched her arms wide, but there was no way to hug all of Manti now. He was immobile, his eyes a meter apart, and his flesh marbled with rings of stretch marks like a bisected tree trunk. His pipe was removed, sutured shut with what looked like telephone wire.
You did it, Manti.
The host was crying.
But how? Where's the septic tank?
Manti contorted his face, which 100 or so shovelfuls of dirt and cellulose ago could have smirked.
Well, it's being taken care of.
Devon dialed 911, which was difficult because he couldn't feel his fingers anymore. The back of his throat itched, and his rectum burned like a buffalo chicken hangover. This was what it felt like if vomit could crawl. 911? Yes, hello? Yeah, sure, I'll hold.
Manti explained that because he had technically consumed the contents of the septic tank, it didn't require immediate reconsumption. The gallons and gallons of waste were being reshat by waste specialists off-site. The tank, now drained, was spit into shards and consumed as directed by the original blueprints.
Listen, Devon groaned into the wait music. I can't wait. I'm spiders now. Just tell the doctor I'm spiders now, okay? He coughed, and legs tugged at his tongue from deep down, and something bit him in 100 places at once. It's happening! As spiders burst from Devon's ass, mouth, back, and crotch, the TV played to no one. Manti's enormous face stretched through the glass of the TV, watching Devon agonize on the laminate floor.
So you met your timeline, but the question we all have to ask...
Yes, go ahead.
Manti gurgled.
Did you meet your budget?
And the television laughed and laughed.